Meet the Vacay Dream Team. They don't just show up, they dive right in. And at the piano bar, they raise the bar. Because when they're on Carnival, they're the main event.
Hello, and welcome back to Funnelheads. My name is Andrew, and today we're going to be going over our 5 loves, likes, and dislikes for the new or recently out of dry dock Carnival Valor, which we spent a total of 15 nights on this ship. Now, we do have a playlist created for the Carnival Valor. I'll link it in the video as well as the description box. So if after this video you want to check those out, we do have the full ship tour, what they changed during dry dock, our family vlogs 1 through 15, and so much more. Now, definitely feel free to share any of our videos, with other guests, family, friends, anybody that you think it would help out. Of course, if you like these types of videos, consider subscribing. We appreciate it. Let's get right into the video. Now, in no particular order, number 1 for the love side is going to be the addition of the water slides as well as the WaterWorks area. Little man absolutely loved this. Me and Michelle tried both of the slides as well. I believe previously it was just like an old school single slide, so this addition is incredible for this ship. Not only that, it actually faces the Lido deck. Of course, it's basically like one deck above, but if you happen to not be enjoying the water slides or whatnot, you can still kind of be involved with the activities that are going on the Lido deck. Whether it's fun under the sun games, ice carving, live music, or just people watching, it is a great new addition to the Carnival Valor. Now, number 1 for the like side is going to be the live music all over the ship, but specifically in the atrium. Of course, the artists are going to vary from, itinerary to itinerary, ship to ship, and also they kind of rotate throughout the venues that are on board the Carnival Valor, but we love the location of the music. If you've ever been on other cruise ships or Carnival specifically, sometimes the live music is up above. I'm thinking like the Dream class ships as well as the Vista class. They are kind of located above the bar in those areas, but like I said, on the Valor, it is floor level. You don't have to, strain your neck to look at the live music, and also it gives it a chance, or gives them a chance for the entertainers to actually interact with the crowd a little bit, and that's exactly what some of the entertainers did on the Carnival Valor, and it was so enjoyable. Now, number 1 on the dislike side, and if you've ever watched my series before of loves, likes, and dislikes, this is a staple, and it's no different on Carnival Valor. It is the buffet. It is just mediocre at best. A lot of bland food, a lot of repeating options. Some of it isn't even hot, and unfortunately they've just taken so much away from the buffet over the last, I would say, 2 years or so. I hope one day that this moves out of the dislike column, but unfortunately it does land here. Now, I do want to expand on this a little bit as well. Unfortunately, the Mongolian wok has changed on this ship as well. It used to be where you would grab a bowl, you can pick out your fresh condiments, pick a protein, a sauce, and they would cook it right in front of you. Now it's basically they have 3 different options. They cook the same options over and over again, and then you just decide on which option you want to go with. They do kind of rotate, or they do have a little bit of variety from day to day, but there is only 3 options, unfortunately. Now, I will say the rest of the free options were very tasty. Think pizza, deli, Guy's Burger, Blue Iguana, all of that was very good, but unfortunately the buffet was a complete miss. Now, number 2 on the love side, and this is going to be hard to say out loud, but hopefully my video in the background will kind of show you what I'm talking about. But on some of the newer class ships specifically, the railings are super high, or they have, those glass panels that can easily be, fogged over. Salt can get on them and you cannot see. On the Carnival Valor and some of the older Carnival ships, you have low railings with complete visibility. This is specifically amazing, on the Lido deck and above the Lido deck. You can take some great pictures. You don't feel so confined on the ship. You get that breeze, and it just makes a huge difference when you're on some of these older ships, and that's what we absolutely love. Now, number 2 on the like side is going to be the size, the variety, the layout of the casino. Now, usually we don't spend too much time in the casino, but it was a 15-night cruise, so we did dabble just a little bit more than we normally do. This whole casino area got a super refresh during the dry dock. They added a bunch of slot machines on the one side of the casino, kind of relaid out everything. They left the main bar, which is huge. On some of the other ships, they actually took out the casino bar, which I absolutely hated, but they left the casino bar. They had runners. The only downside to the casino that, is the reason why it's not in the love column is that they technically don't have like a non-smoking casino. They have a non-smoking area, but it does carry over a little bit. It's not as bad as some of the other ships though at all. But overall, the casino was really great. All the crew members, whether it was the host, the bartenders at the casino bar, or the runners themselves. We also had a little bit of luck, so that always helps, and hopefully you do too. Now moving on to the second dislike, and this one was kind of hard to put on the list, but I unfortunately had to. It may be very different for your cruise, but we had, of course, Punchliner Comedy, the stand-up comedians. We had 3 or 4. Now, to be fair, we only saw 2 of the shows, but they were both really, really just not funny. And I hate to say that. I know stand-up comedians have such a hard time, when it comes to being alone on that mic. I get it, but usually I can, kind of suck it up and just, watch it until the end of the shows. We unfortunately walked out on both acts, and it hurt me to my core to do this, but I didn't want to waste my time on vacation with something that I didn't like. Hopefully you guys understand that. But hopefully if you're going on this ship, you have either different comedians than we had or just different acts in general. But I can say that even the shows that we didn't go to that were different, artists or different comedians, a lot of the other guests said that those people were not funny either, which is just such a shame because comedy is something that we absolutely look forward to when going on a cruise. Now moving on to number 3 on the list, and that is going to be the size of the venue spaces on board. And this is really for all venues, whether it's the Eagle Lounge to, watch stand-up comedy, or if you're going to the Ivanhoe Theater, the main lounge, to see, a Broadway-style musical, a variety act, and so on and so forth. All of the areas on this ship are extra large, and it helps so much because although you can get to these venues early, specifically for shows that everyone wants to see, like Love and Marriage, for example, you can get there early and secure, a good seat, but you don't have to get there early. Some of the other ships that Carnival has, you really need to get, to different venues 20, 30 minutes early in order to even secure a seat. And we walked in, 5 minutes to the show or at showtime, and a lot of times, we could sit right down. Of course, you're not going to get the best seat in the house by doing that, but also you're not really wasting time. We're big into trying to maximize as much, as we can do in the time that we have, especially, trying to vlog our day and show people, around the ship. We're trying to get from point A to point B and hopefully not have any lag time. So it really helps with that. Love the different venues on board the Carnival Valor. Now, number 3 on the like side is going to be be the interior design of this ship. Now, if you know some of the older Carnival ships, the architect was Mr. Farkash at the time. He had very bold ideas when it came to interior design on cruise ships, and you could definitely see a lot of that still on board, and I think it kind of works with this ship. There's some areas that I don't love on this ship as far as the design, but overall I think, you know, his bold ideas still fit. It kind of reminds me of the Carnival Elation, if you've ever been on that ship. You know, it has some of those bold interior designs, but a lot of the areas have been updated for like a more modern feel, so it does work quite a bit on this ship. Some of the areas that it doesn't really hit for me is going to be like the library that's on board, or I forget the actual name of the lounge, but it used to be the cigar lounge on the ship. But overall, I really enjoyed the interior design, and maybe just a few tweaks in the near future the next time it goes to dry docks, and she'll be looking beautiful. Moving on to number 3 for the dislike side, and that is going to be Bonsai Sushi. Now, they do this a lot, you know, Carnival, in order to maximize space and specialty dining and all of that. They take an area that used to be something else and kind of transform it so that way they can fit something, and this is going to be what they did with Bonsai Sushi. It is not a sit-down dining specialty experience. It's basically you order at a window, they give you a little timer, and once, you know, your food is ready, the timer goes off, you go to collect your food, and you're basically eating, you know, with everybody else that you're, you know, are eating, whether it's at the deli, the pizza place, the buffet. So it doesn't feel special, which specialty dining should feel a little special. I can see this concept working for like a fast lunch, you know, you just want to get your sushi fix in for the day, perfect. But for like a dinner, you really want like that sit down, you know, be seated, kind of have that nice specialty dining feel, and it just misses the marks. Not only that, the menu is quite condensed as well, so just another thing to note. Now moving on to number 4, and that is going to be the overall size of the ship as well as guest capacity. Now, we were a sold out cruise coming over from Barcelona on our transatlantic voyage to New Orleans, and there was not a time at all during our 15 nights on board that we ever felt, you know, the lines were just insanely long, or we couldn't find a seat, whether it be, you know, at the buffet or at the main dining room or at a venue like we talked about. So overall, it was just excellent. This ship, there's so much room, and there's so many, you know, places to go as different venues, or so much open deck, you know, on some of the top decks, that you never felt, you know, confined or uncomfortable, and we absolutely love that. Now, number 4 on the like side is going to be the transformation, again in dry dock, from the Skyline Bar, I believe is what it used to be called, to the Heroes Tribute Sports Bar. Now, if you didn't know, I'm a Marine veteran myself, so anytime they up an area, you know, whether it's a tribute or a military experience, I'm all for it. I love, you know, honoring our present and past men and women of the military, and this area, they really did that. The only downside I would say from this area is I would love to see a little bit more TVs and a little bit more variety of the sports, but other than that, it was incredible. It is right off of the casino as well as the main atrium area, so super easy to get to, and just another option for, you know, a quick bar. It was never busy in there, so, you know, if the casino bar was a little busy, you could just pop into the Heroes Tribute bar, and it, like I said, it was never busy. So a little tidbit for you there. Now moving over to number 4 on the dislike side, and this ship had this a lot. Usually I let it slide, but there are so many different areas where if you're trying to go to a specific venue, you either have to go like down and over to get there, or up and over to get there. This happens a lot near the main dining rooms on board the ship. There's 2 different main dinings. One is for your time dining, the other is, you know, a sit down timed dining, but there are other areas on this ship it happens as well. So just one thing to note, you know, if you have maybe mobility issues, or it's, I mean, it is just kind of a pain sometimes. This ship has this a lot, so definitely something to note. Now, last but not least, number 5 for the love side, and that is going to be the aft pool area. This has a retractable roof, and it's technically an adults only area. So if the weather is bad, you know, it's a perfect area to go. You can still enjoy the pool. Now, I said technically an adults area because there are, you know, items around this area that kids can still go to. There's ice cream there. There's different drinks. Of course, there's tables to eat at and pizza as well. So kids are allowed in this area on the back of the ship, but they're not allowed to use the pool or the hot tubs. Now, in saying that, we do have an 8-year-old, so we didn't get to enjoy this area so much, but it's so nice to have, you know, if he's at camp, we can go there, read a book. It's nice and quiet. You can get in the pool, get in the hot tub, not have to worry about being splashed and all that. So I'm definitely here for it. I just wish, I'm a little bit jealous, wish we had a little bit more time in it, but it is something for you to look forward to on your cruise. Now moving on to number 5 for the like side, and that is going to be the Red Frog Pub. A great area, lots of different activities happening here, whether you want to play some table games like foosball or shuffleboard. They also have like chess, checkers, as well as Connect 4. Trivia happens here quite a bit as well, and at night usually there's live music. The only downside I would say is this is probably the only venue on board the ship that's just a little bit too small, and only really at night when there's a great band or live music going on. There was nights where literally you couldn't move because there were so many people dancing and other people just watching, you know, the band perform. So a good problem to have, but just one thing to note. Now, last but not least, number 5 on the dislike side, and that is going to be that there is some areas on this ship that feel like just a wasted space, which is really unfortunate. Great layout on the ship, but there are some areas that they just don't use anymore, or it just feels like a wasted space. Some of the areas that I noticed is there's a random little venue, almost like a bar on the promenade area. I think back in the day, this used to be where they did like free sushi. Every night they would have like 1 or 2 different like sushi samples that you could have. It was me and Michelle's favorite thing to do because this is when she really didn't enjoy sushi, but she liked trying them, and then whatever she didn't like, I ate. So we would get, you know, I would get basically double the portion. So I think that's what that was during the day, but now it's just like an abandoned venue pretty much. There's also a venue, I think it's called like Paris Hot Club or something like that. I'll correct, you know, the wording if I'm wrong in the video, but this venue was never used. I think that guests created an event that happened there, like a ugly duck exchange or something like that, but there was never anything else going on in this area. It is a very small area, but they do have a stage as well as, you know, a bar in there, and it was weird that, you know, 15 days or 15 nights on board and they didn't have a single event held in this venue. And the last thing that I could think of off the top of my head, I'm sure there's other examples, but some of the top decks did have, you know, some random spaces where I'm sure they could have put or did something there, even if it's like cornhole or something silly. I'm sure they could have utilized the spaces better, but especially for those areas, not the end of the world by any means. Now, those are our 5 loves, likes, and dislikes for the Carnival Valor. If you have any questions in regards to this ship, or really anything in general, put it in the comment section below. I do want to know if you're booked on the Valor, when is it? And if you're not, are you looking to book it? Or when's just your next cruise? Ours, as you can see, is in 30 days on board the Carnival Paradise. We're very much looking forward to it. We are in diet and exercise mode right now, as much as I can anyway, because as you can see, I've got this fun guy, but I'm hoping that it'll come off before then. But yeah, let me know what your countdown is, what's the ship, and any questions, I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Now, if you are looking for some other Carnival Valor videos, I'll put these 2 samples here. We have a playlist though, check them out. This is the full ship tour, as well as everything that changed during dry dock. And like I said, we have all of our vlogs. So if you want to see our family act silly for 15 nights, then have at it. I'm sure you'll get some good laughs from my stupidity, I should say. But anyway, if you like these types of videos, consider subscribing, sharing the video with family, friends, cruise groups, whoever you want to share them with. We appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you right back here in the next video or on a cruise ship one day. Catch you later.
I woke up with the sun today, rolled out of bed and said, I'm gonna have some fun today, and that's just what I did. The birds were singing. singing, come outside, I felt giddy like a kid. If life is like a swimming pool, you know I'm jumping in. We got the perfect summer day, so put me in your plans. You know that this doesn't happen every day, so everybody clap your hands. Cause when we raise on high, every hand in the sky, we're the super fans, feeling grand in the grandstands. Shout it out, make some noise, make it loud, soaking up the lovely weather, everything just comes together. I woke up feeling good today, my journey has begun. I gotta give a shout out to the green grass and the sun. It's a long way off, a tricky shot, but I know it can be done. Another day, another game, another hole in one. Yeah, we got the perfect summer day, so put me in your plans. You know that this doesn't happen every day, so everybody clap your hands. Cause when we raise on high, every hand in the sky, we're the super fans, feeling grand in the grandstands. Shout it out, make some noise, make it loud, soaking up the lovely weather, everything just comes together. Lift them up, all the hands, all in one, we're the super fans, feeling grand in the grandstands. And keep them there, all the hands in the air, we're wishing it could last forever, baby, put your hands together. The weather's just so fine, wish I could bottle time. Cause if you only pause, you'll hear the crowd applaud. They're cheering for